Antonio,
Yes!
I've got a question for you.
Connor, what is your question?
What did the king of the Underworld say when Zeus gave him a gift he didn't like?
I don't know, man.
I Hades.
That fucking sucked.
Of course, the reason why I made that joke is because we're going to be watching Underworld today.
Yes. Yes. I love Underworld. I think it's pretty good. So I'm hoping that Connor sees that it's also good.
It's a viciously unpopular story, a bit like the Space Pirates. But what happened when we watched the Space Pirates, Antonio? That was really good.
Yeah.
I also know that it's
you see that this story's brilliant.
I also know that it's part of the Myths and Legends box set, and the only one I've seen from that so far is the Thai Monster, and if anyone's seen that video I did with Mason, we absolutely loved it. So I do have a soft spot for Greek mythology in that sense, though I have a funny feeling that this story won't have pendulum theory in it.
This is...
Just looking at the DVD cover, there's a minion on it.
I think they're called minions.
They look like the minions from Despicable Me.
Yeah, and I think they're called minions.
Yeah, and then Tom looks very bored. So yeah, this is part of season 15. It's the only one I haven't seen from that season. And there's a lot riding on this one, because so far in my Classic Who marathon I've been doing on Twitter, I have not disliked a single story up to this point. All the way from An Unearthly Child to The Sunmakers. Which is quite a long time, probably more than a lot of people would. And so I've already seen The Invasion of Time last year, which means I'm probably going to be skipping it in my marathon, and I wasn't a fan of that. So the betting odds is on whether this story or the next story is going to be my first one that I consider a dud. So we will have to wait and see if it's this one or if it's the next one. Did you place any bets on that poll, Antonio?
No, I did not.
Okay.
What poll? I didn't even know there was a poll.
Okay.
What?
Oh, there was a thing on Twitter. It's like a poll to see people predicting whether this or The Invasion of Time will be my first dud in my marathon. Because people already know that I don't like The Invasion of Time, but they also think maybe Underworld will come first. It all depends on what I think of this story. What would your bets be? Do you think, just purely speculating, do you reckon that this will be my first dud, or do you think I'll like it?
Knowing that you, like, fear her, which is a pretty, like, shit story, but you find it extremely fun.
Yeah.
I find this story pretty fun as well. It's kind of like Fear Her, in the aspect that it's so shit that it's good, so I think this won't be your first dud.
Yeah, well, because the thing is like, Fear Her is, like, inoffensive to me. Whereas, something like The Invasion of Time is so aggrandizing and so smug. Like, it's really, like... Oh, I don't know, I hate it when a writer thinks they're the bee's knees. I think Moffat does that quite a bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird and just off-putting vibe. It's not even fun for me to watch, apart from obviously some of the funny bits, like the Sontaran falling over the chair. That's great. But a lot of The Invasion of Time isn't funny bad for me. It's just really annoying. And it feels like it feels like a waste of what could have been a really interesting, like, Gallifrey story where the Doctor pretends to be an asshole. Whereas this, I feel like I could still hate it, but I've got a good feeling about this one, considering that it's about mythology, and also it seems like it's one of those ones that's, like, funny bad rather than excruciating bad, if that makes sense. But we'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll really like it. So with that said, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen bits Doctor Who, especially New Who, because sometimes... Oh, and just basically anything that I've seen, because sometimes during these videos we like to discuss Doctor Who that I have already seen. So just bear that in mind. It's probably not going to be anything too extreme, and to be honest, if you're watching this video, you probably have seen quite a lot of the show. Let's be fair. Leave a comment on New Who stories you want us to defend against Hellbent. We do that at the end of these videos, although there was one case when the last one that Antonio was on, we actually had to do a versus because it was about timeless children, which Antonio thinks is worse than Hellbent, so we did a little versus. This time around, I believe we're doing a defense, which we'll get to at the end. Look forward to that, and basically, if you're keeping track of the ones that we've done already, just be aware of, that, and yeah, leave a comment and tell us a new story you want us to defend against Hellbent, and that way, you know, if you guys give us a paragraph on why you think it might be worse, then we can actually have a direct response, as opposed to just talking about it single-handedly. Yeah, anything else you want to say before we crack right into Underworld?
Fuck Brian and his shitty opinions.
Getting that out the way early.
God, I'm excited.
So am I, actually. I've got some boiled eggs and I got my tea.
Oh, that's great. All I got is a water. So
Lila.
Leela.
Lila.
I love how she's just messing with the controls.
I love that bit in the Sunmakers where he's like, "Shut up, K9, let me apologize." Also, I love Tom Baker. It's kind of a cliche opinion, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
What the hell? Been painting.
Yeah.
Any second, a whole new world could be born, and we'd be the first. We are not the first.
Oh, I like this shit.
Oh yeah, they're very good model shots.
Why
in
am I
this.
getting? I'm getting Space Pirates vibes from this again. I'm getting deja vu. It's like a bit of like Space Pirates and Planet of Evil. Oh, there we go.
Look at
There's
this-
the not chroma keyed, the not chroma keyed screen.
I know it's, but the thing is, it was actually a blue screen, so it was just green for no reason. It's hilarious.
Oh, there we go. Fixed. Cobwebs of the universe, my themes. Hang on a second. Ernest Rutherford split the atom. He was a New Zealander. Is Ernest
Wow.
Rutherford a bloody Time Lord? The quest is the quest. Oh,
The quest is the quest.
huh. Is it like Happy Drugs or something?
Yeah, bliss. Happy, happy, happy.
Reminds me of Jameson in Spider-Man 3, where he's like about to yell, he's like, "Thank you." You tell my wife. Thank you. Pacifier. I can see why they'd have that, actually, on something like this. I quite like this concept of how humanity's technology would lead to regeneration.
I mean, I just really like this concept of the Doctor encountering a people that worship Gallifreyans.
I can just imagine bloody Margaret Blaine Slitheen saying, "You might as well be a god." God, K9. He's on jumper leads.
They aren't even jumper leads. They're the, what are they called? Clippers. Clips.
The quest is the quest.
The quest is the quest. Pacified Leela is just something to be awed in.
Possible.
Right, that's far enough. You stay wait. Smash those stupid grins up your stupid faces.
Oh, Leela, come on.
Damn.
Don't
she's
sulk
sulking
I just realised their suits are made of tinfoil and rope. They're like putting my fist in the air every time they say the quest is a quest, you know? Like, encouraging them to charge on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing it now. I hope you do it as well.
It could be a drinking game. Every time they say the quest is the quest, you drink.
We're inside Pompeii! And it's Volcano Day! If the Fires of Pompeii was a six-parter, it would just be the Doctor and Donna going around thinking it was Rome the whole 25 minutes. And then the pre-title sequence would be the whole first episode. Oh,
Yeah. You get what I'm saying
some
about the
proper
model
sci-fi
shots?
right here. Looks like popcorn with charcoal on it. It's like when all the bloody cereal sticks to your fork.
The quest is the quest.
I would call this deep space volcanic magnetism. Damn, dude, that was good.
I know, right?
That was so cool.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like, the first part is amazing. It has comedy. Like, oh, it's brilliant.
So we're in deep space, which is cool. Next to a sort of portal thing, whatever you call it, like a whirlpool.
Spiral Nebula.
Yeah, Spiral Nebula, that's the one. And you've got this. They're trying to recover this society that worship Time Lords, the Minyats, and they have this ability to regenerate, so they can keep their quest going for like 100,000 years, which is a long time. And that's realistic considering how long it takes to travel, into deep space. And I love how it's like the Doctor and Leela, because of their expertise and with the TARDIS and with K9 and all that, it gives them that extra hit they need to get through there. But then, of course, they couldn't anticipate what gravity issues there would be. I also love the whole thing of, because they're on there for so long, they can't risk killing each other, so they have that pacifier.
Yeah, like some people are gonna crack, so they gotta pacify them. But with the size of the regenerative banks, it is hinted at that they had a larger crew, but they've been going out and unable to regenerate.
True, yeah, but
that's a problem.
But the pacifier is supposed to, in theory, stop people from killing each other.
Yeah,
Because when you're in deep,
which is a brilliant idea.
because when you're in deep space for 100,000 years with the same people, you're gonna, it's just you're gonna turn into animals basically, which is quite a dark thought actually. It's almost like your best friends, you'll just stop. You'll just suddenly because you're with each other for so long, you'll just suddenly just disintegrate. Your mind will go insane. So I think
Me in quarantine.
Yeah, no. So it's 100,000 years of quarantine. Oh, Jesus. That's what it feels like at the moment.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, we haven't even been in 100,000 days of quarantine. That was really good. Obviously, there is one big issue, and that's the they didn't do all of the chroma key, and that's a problem. Sadly, like I can't just brush past it and be kind, because it is an issue. However, on the flip side of that, it is something you can fix in post. Like, for example, you can't fix bad writing in post, you can't fix bad acting in post, but you can fix bad special effects in post, especially chroma key. So on the Blu-ray, this episode would be a lot better.
That's why I think this Underworld should get a special features update, like special effects update, because I feel like that's the only thing letting it down. The story is the special effects, and that's why many people don't like it. But if it had a 21st century update, I think a lot more people would like it, because many people focus on the effects instead of the actual story.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's a really good plot there.
Yeah, well, I mean, bloody. That's what they do with the. Although to be fair, you wouldn't agree, because I know you don't give a shit about the episode. But that's what I feel people do with the Lazarus experiment as well, because that has shit effects. But I think it has a good story under it. Although to be fair, they don't focus on the effects when it comes to Rose. That's an episode that has really dodgy effects in it. But I suppose it's just so charming that it carries through. Anti-plastic. But yeah, anyway, this was really intriguing, and part one flew by. It was so good, and I'm really interested to see where it goes from here. I know that eventually it becomes just lots of green screen caves, but I've had years to prepare for this, so nothing will.
Well, I think part 2 introduces the green screen caves. So
Okay, well.
yeah.
I'm sure it'll look shit, but I'm hoping that the story holds up, because that's what I'm enjoying so far, is the story and the characters and the concepts that have been introduced. It's really interesting. I love it when they go to deep space. Like you would agree with me that Planet of Evil is just an absolute masterpiece, and part of the reason why is what they do with deep space.
It's just so, it's like a world of unknown. I wish Doctor Who went to deep space a lot more often than it usually does.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a deep space story in New Who.
I guess the Satan Pit?
Maybe, but apparently there was a nebula near there.
The Doctor's wife. The Doctor's wife is deep space.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a pretty brilliant episode as well.
As Gordon Ramsay would say, to separate those pieces, you should put some olive oil in it. In goes the olive oil. I love those couches.
Oh yeah, look very comfortable.
You could, hang with the boys on that couch.
Have a flat screen TV up there.
Oh, it's popped the pimple.
Tight.
Don't hold on his clothes.
Relax, everyone. It's a soft planet in the process of formation.
Oh, I love that. It's undercooked, like a soft-boiled egg.
Oh, like what you're eating right now.
Well, I've already eaten them, and they were hard-boiled, so there you go.
Oh, so my bad.
Get it right, though. The quest.
The quest is the quest.
The quest is the quest. Fist in the air.
The quest is the quest.
Ooh. Oh my god. Who's that?
It's so...
What?
It's so funny.
There's a society inside the soft-boiled egg. Ooh. It looks like the repeated meme, but with, like, goth buckles on it.
But that cut was so funny. It's just so unexpected.
It reminded me of, like, Rugrats for some reason. Like, kids just running around.
Among Us.
If this was a Patrick Troughton story, I bet Fraser Hines would be frothing over that woman. He loves blondes. Oh yeah, me and Patrick, we both agree that she was a smashing babe. Okay, so we got an oppressive society as always in Doctor Who. That looks like something I shouldn't talk about.
I was thinking the same thing.
Graham Williams era is so much fun. It's so tongue in cheek.
I know. Nice.
There's did you ever play the game Chicken Invaders as a kid?
No.
It's like Space Invaders but with chickens and eggs. And there's the boss battle is like you crack an egg with your like lasers, and it reminds me of that. I'm just thinking, do they tie their faces up with shoelaces or something when they go to sleep? Or are those just for breathing holes?
I think they're just breathing holes, maybe. God, they look so wonky with those helmets.
Like they look like a human shoe, human-sized shoe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quest is the quest.
Quest is the quest.
The quest is the quest. I just love that phrase so much.
Quest is the quest.
Quest is the quest.
The quest is the quest.
I like how they've been traveling together for so long. They know like they're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, really shows how much they've grown together.
You think maybe the reason they did this on a set with a chroma key screen rather than on location is because of the dangerous stuff that happened during Revenge of the Cybermen?
Oh, perhaps.
Because remember Elizabeth Sladen like nearly died on that set? She nearly got decapitated by like a rock wall. Because she was driving a speedboat too fast.
Yeah. Luckily she jumped off in time.
There's so many stories of people in Doctor Who like nearly dying on set, like Patrick Troughton in the Moonbase.
Oh, what happened to Patrick Troughton?
Like, you know the thing on the roof in the Moonbase that like fell down onto the floor right next to him?
Damn.
That massive heavy thing, it could have crushed him.
Wow. Wow, that is...
This reminds me of that thing in Warriors Gate when Romana and Adric hide under that red sheet.
God, that how did they not know notice the
Because
carriage?
they can't see through their shoelace holes. They're on their own quest, Antonio.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that! It's a slumber party. Leela, have you ever played Battleship? Blood Control! Oh, I haven't seen the Blood Control for years!
Holy shit, Leela!
Oh. Okay, they just walked in front of that rock.
I know, it's so awkward.
Come on, Blu-ray team, you got a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm enjoying the story, it's just unfinished. A bit like this planet,
Exactly.
it's unfinished.
It's very fun.
The bad effects are part of the themes, actually. Because the planet is also unfinished.
Exactly. Wow, you're spotting all of this, Connor. This is why you're the smartest Ruvian out there. Noticing all the things.
Because
okay?
I come up with bullshit interpretations of everything. Yes, I'm very good at filling holes, Leela.
I like how ominous those black guards look. Like, they kind of look creepy in those dark
It
lights.
looks like that new monster thing from Series 13 that they've shown pictures of.
Oh. Maybe the minions are coming back.
But they're actually like the ones from Despicable Me, and Jodie's all excited.
Oh, you're a minion! Damn.
I thought he said Officer Clit. God.
Here comes Maddox's favorite line.
So I got a bit of investment in that character now because of his father in that story.
Yeah,
Louise Jameson just has so much swagger.
exactly.
Though, to be fair, so does Mary Tam and so does Lala Ward. There's just something about the 70s that's very swag, especially the late 70s. I think, actually, to be fair,
Totally.
Elizabeth Sladen in, like, the second half of her run is like that, too. Like, when she gets more confident.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Whoever blows can be sucked.
Oh, that's Max.
He said it!
Line.
He said it! He said it!
Well, he learnt that 2 seasons later. In The Creature from the Pit. Oh, dear. He's trying to inhale the gas or something, or, like, get rid of it.
That went by fast. My
Wow.
God.
We're already halfway through the bloody story.
Jesus.
Okay, so there in the soft-boiled egg planet, there's an oppressed society. There's like the overlords and the under people or whatever, as usual with Doctor Who. The overlords look like big shoes, and the under people look like they're wearing rags, and they're being violently controlled. And there's that guy who got gas that is now with Leela. He has that father who was taken by them to be executed, and then now there's gas as well. I'm trying to like formulate the sort of political plot a bit. It's not quite there for me. I'm trying to figure out what's going on a bit, but I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued. Obviously,
It's very fun to watch.
Obviously, the green screen is not good, but you know the story is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I can see why someone might not be interested in it because there's quite a bit of like sort of space tech stuff, but I've always found. Well, not always, but I usually find that stuff interesting. The times when I don't find it interesting is like, you know, like Ascension of the Cybermen, how it's just really clunky dialogue about what they're doing. I don't find that interesting, but stuff like this, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something about the episode. I just find it incredibly funny. The effects with the green screen and all that. Just, it's hilariously bad, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the green screen is bad, but, like, I don't know, I can look past it. I can look past the
people
effects
running about.
Yeah, that cut was funny, wasn't it? Classic Who can be very abrupt sometimes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I'm enjoying the story so far. I'm, like, learning new information as it goes, and I don't really see what's so bad about it, you know? I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm learning more
pretty
about this society. I'm still waiting for the minions to turn up, though. The Despicable Me minions. But we shall soldier on this story, because the quest is the quest.
The quest is the quest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with that line.
So yeah, I wonder what's going to happen now. So wait, hang on, what is the Doctor actually doing at the end there? I wasn't quite sure.
I think he found the release gas mechanism, and is trying to like turn it off.
Trying to trigger it by reversing the pressure or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
So basically, the gas thing is having reflux, and he's trying to reverse it.
Exactly that. You've got it completely right.
I see. So the stomach of the boiled egg is gassing at the moment. But I mean, like I said, like on the Blu-ray, if they clean up the effects, I think this might get reappraised. At least for the first half. I'm obviously got to wait till the second half of the story, but I'm again like I don't see the problem with like the writing or the acting so far. I think it's actually really solid.
Like, I think Eirich is one of the like a solid character. Like the whole Minion crew is great. Like you've got wide variety.
Yeah.
Eirich is definitely one of my favorites, and just the way he commands the scene is brilliant, and how he has fun doing everything. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. It's just an enjoyable experience, and I'm intrigued by what's being set up. And I don't really see the outside of the special effects. I don't really see the what the ho-ha's all about, really. But I suppose maybe it'll tank in the second half. Who knows?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it all the way through.
Like I think the reason why I like so much of Classic Who is it's kind of honest. You know, it's kind of like endearing because it's always sort of, well, not always, but it's usually very honest with itself. I think when Doctor Who annoys me is when it tries to be something that it isn't and it becomes forced. That's when it really triggers me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I feel you.
And I think that's part of why I'm not the biggest fan of the Moffat era is because I find a lot of he presents his stories in a very high regard. Like it's a lot of his stories feel like they're trying to be this like Shakespearean, genius bit of intellectual tragedy. Whereas sometimes I don't really buy it, and it just doesn't come together properly, and it comes off of as a bit forced and pretentious. Whereas something like this is really honest with itself. It's kind of just like presenting everything as is, and I can vibe with that more. It's
Yeah.
I found like that was the case with all of 62 as well. Like something like The Keys of Marinus is a very honest story.
That's a great one as well.
Yeah, so it's like I think I just find this endearing, and I just don't really. I'm not off-put by bad effects as much, unless it's Warriors of the Deep. That's where it crosses the line.
Okay. Stop this Warriors of the Deep slander. Warriors of the Deep is great, okay?
No. I mean, well, look, I'll rewatch it in my marathon, but Jesus Christ, man. That story hurts to watch.
When's the last time you saw it?
Would have been a year or two ago. I've seen it twice.
Oh. Okay, so it's pretty recent.
I do like that cliffhanger at the start though when Turlo says, "Face it, Tegan, he's drowned."
And it's only like a couple of like inches beneath the water. It's hilarious.
And I do think Peter Davison really tries hard in that story to make it work, but
I think he's one of the better things about the story, especially like the ending.
Well, I don't think the Fifth Doctor's characterization works because I think it's a bit jumbled. But I do like the performance from Peter Davison. Like, he really wants to make it like this big story. And you get that last scene where he's like, there should have been another way.
It's a great ending, though.
Yeah, I just wish it was, an ending on a story I actually liked. Anyway, shall we begin part 3 of Underworld?
Yes, we shall.
Are we going to hear the line again? So when Maddox heard that line, is that when him and Hughes started to, do the extra for experts?
Yeah, that's when they...
God, that guy needs to clean his souls, man. Ugh. I mean, it's not his fault, but he does need to. The overlords need to give him a shower. That's like McDonald's tea gas. That's right, Mason Peters. Your McDonald's tea is like lava. It's so hot. Takes like 20 minutes to cool down.
Oh yeah. Said it again.
Oh yeah. How do you communicate? Oh god, they've gassed themselves.
It's funny how like they don't see the gas until Officer Clit.
Tom Tit.
Officer Clit. And
For
Tom
goodness
Tits.
sake, man! Tom Tit. The Seers.
I guess that's what they're called.
Yeah, Seers are usually, like, very associated with lava and, like, fire and all that.
Don't worry. He has saved many fathers. Come on.
I love how Leela just doesn't know how funny she is. It's like I just wanna jump into the story and tell her and give her a hug. And she's like,
yeah.
"Oh, thank you. I don't know what I did, but it's nice of you." It might have something to do with the geography, but we don't really know because it's kind of like Google Earth.
Oh yeah.
Like they've gone to Street View on this planet.
Like, I love how the story is just called Underworld because it's underground and not because of hell.
Yeah, I know. Let's see if these dragons are real.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Leela! Okay, they're not dragons, but it's a force field. It's like a video game.
Oh, K9 on his little adventure.
I'm going to hell, mistress! What if K9 was in the Satan pit when the doctor was? Tell the doctor. Oh, he would know. I could survive a fall like that, mistress. I believe in master. Oh, it's this scene. I know about this scene.
You do?
I've heard about this scene. Whoosh. What a lovely elevator. Why does it sound like we're on a chicken farm?
I love how Tom Baker just doesn't care. I love how it's just panic outside and then
I love how they have elevator music in the elevator.
it's complete panic outside. It's just this light music.
What a fascinating ritual.
Such a convoluted way to kill somebody. Sword
Yeah,
fall.
but you know what religion's like, Antonia. They have very specific things they have to do to appease the gods. And in this case, the gods are the Time Lords, right?
I guess, yeah.
And then the sword
Is he just flapping his wings?
mumbo jumbo.
It's so funny. Damn.
Oh yeah, because that's his father, right?
Yeah. A whole rebellion.
Ooh. He likes killing. He's a bit like a Sontaran,
Yeah.
actually. Oh, is it one of those ones? Go on without me. Ooh. Oh. Oh. These are very crusty effects. I feel like my eyes are going to start watering if I look at more of this green screen. This guy looks like he could be like Bernard Horsfall's father or something.
You're right.
Love Bernard Horsfall, he's amazing.
I told you about the time I went to Blackpool.
Yeah. What is...
I will tell you about all cities in England. All counties.
Jackson's probably Edith's great grandfather a few times back.
New York.
Well, it's not my plan exactly, but it has worked before. A fellow called Ulysses pulled it off a little while ago.
Oh my god. This is just more like confirmation that the Doctor's Merlin. Ah, they are the seers.
Yeah.
Ah, here we go.
It's a really cool design. I quite
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, the person who did Despicable Me probably watched this as a kid and got that. That's the inspiration. They look like Kinder Surprise eggs. Oh no! Oh! Oh! What a cliffhanger!
That's too funny.
It was very abrupt, but wow. So the Doctor and Leela were in that, right?
Yeah.
So they got
I guess the plan went wrong.
shoved
And
into
they're
that
being-
cargo.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Damn. Wow.
Well.
That was episode 3.
Yeah, I know, we've only got one part left. This is flying by. It's just disappearing in front of my eyes.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
That twist with the seers. I really like that twist.
Yeah. Yeah, they got cool design, everything about them.
Mm-hmm. So
The race bank has been used to populate
When they,
people.
when they looked like a humanoid, was that a mask or was that someone else?
What do you mean?
Well, because some of the people that were wearing the... Oh, no, because the people that weren't wearing the head things were humanoid, weren't they? But the people that
Yeah.
were wearing them had that under there, but they didn't realize it was them. I see. Okay.
Yes.
there's-
So what are you thinking of the story so far, now that you're more than halfway through it?
I mean, it's... Some of the tones in it are, like, a little bit bland, but it's not bad. It's just... I think it needs a little bit more spice to it, you know?
Yeah.
like the asteroid thing needed a bit of olive oil. olive oil in. And then this part just needs a bit of seasoning, if you know what I mean.
I quite like the revelation and the cool designs with Eirich and his capture. Like, I found those scenes very thrilling.
Yeah, and then obviously the revolution happened right when the guy saved his father from sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very tense moment.
And I found the whole concept around, like, this isn't just Doctor Who, but just in general, the whole concept around seers quite interesting, because I've seen them in a few different bits of sci-fi media. They are somewhat related to satanic culture, so there is an element of it being Underworld in it, despite what you said before.
Okay.
But it's not as direct of a reference. But the kind of rituals they go through, and the fact that they call themselves seers is kind of it's a sort of a satanic thing. But they have a very different design from what I would expect from a seer.
Yeah. It's a very cool design.
Mm.
I mean, the CSO, with them floating down the elevator, I mean...
there was some very funny tonal shifting, wasn't there? Because you're going from, like, this really dark, like, bloody sword sacrifice with fire ritual thing, and it's like funeral music, and then you cut to the elevator and it's like this really upbeat sounded like bloody old MacDonald had a farm, but synth. But no, I'm liking the story. It's good. Like, it's a really solid story so far, outside of the effects and some of the bland tone. But it's not bad at all. It's really not bad at all. I'm finding it really interesting to watch, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where it goes in part 4.
I knew you'd like this. I had a feeling.
I mean, it could all fall apart. You never know.
Yeah.
Like, I have that with The Power of 3, where it all falls apart at the very end, and it just disintegrates into dust, which is really sad.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah. But that was due to, like, actor problems, I think.
Mm-hmm. And Moffat just said to Christian, he's just like, I'll just have the Sonic save the day. And he's like, okay. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, part 4 for Underworld. I can't believe it almost finished this story already. I'm gobsmacked.
Wow.
Like, this has been thoroughly entertaining to watch, and I can't believe people think this is a boring story.
Exactly. I think people just hate it because of the effects. They never really pay attention to the story, like I was saying a couple parts back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard there are some people that don't really understand what's happening in it. Like, they get a bit confused.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I suppose if you're not into,
Alright.
like, and I suppose if you're not into the whole, like, mythology thing that maybe you wouldn't really understand it. But I don't know. Hopefully, nice conclusion.
Indeed.
Let's wait and find out. Oh no! Oh, they're hanging on. Hanging on tooth and nail. I like it when a plan goes wrong. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like the
Spices things up.
like the Time Monster Part 3 when the Doctor tries to like disarm Tom Tit with household items and it just doesn't work and he's like, oh well, it was worth a try.
Did they just reuse that shot?
I think they did, but they just put something slightly in front of it.
They've reused that shot as well.
Yeah.
If they're all minions and it's been 100,000 years, wouldn't they like be inbred? Due to like descent.
Jesus. Are these the cylinders?
Yeah, well that was easy.
Hmm.
Come on, Doc, get your sonic screwdriver.
That was terrible aim.
The terms are that you take what you came for and depart, leaving us to our way.
Okay, now I can see the political commentary in it. Leave us to do our way. This is very similar to when countries have their own laws and own beliefs and they tell other countries to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But then other countries still get involved anyway because they believe it's against rights. It's a very interesting thing to go into, actually. It's like, do you have the right to intervene with another country's beliefs?
Yeah. That's cool. You always see the political side of every story, which is incredible.
Yeah, because Doctor Who's always been a political show, despite what bloody not my doctors think.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in the first story, there's caveman politics. So there you go. Where we make wood, we make fire. Where is the fire?
Sal, the great fire maker.
If you harm her, I will not make fire. This is great. Oh, cylinders again.
So the others were fake.
Aha.
Back into the vent.
Tom was great in that scene.
Yeah.
No hard feelings. Wow.
Jesus Christ, K9.
God. Hello there.
Just blew up a whole wall section.
If you really want to find buried treasure, K9's there.
What do you make of these?
Analysis indicates fission grenades.
Oh.
Oracle's ruthless.
Explosive contents in excess of 2,000 megatons.
Oh. Jesus. Could have blown up the whole planet.
I think I'd better get rid of them, don't you?
Just chuck him outside.
Give them to the milkman.
You're making a terrible mistake. Those are the wrong ones.
Fucking Christ.
I'm so sorry, but those are actually going to explode your head off. And everything.
Our God has come to save us. We can escape to the stars.
I am a god. I am a god. I like how the other one just ran away. Oh no. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
There's gonna be a big blast, isn't there? Ah, that's the bit Matt was talking about.
It's a little person.
Yeah, Matt warned me about this. He called it the Nancy bit. Ah, dear. That's another thing they need to edit on the Blu-ray.
This is your people. This is your race. Mr. Go and go now. Go, Jackson, go!
Ooh. God, he's great in this one.
I know.
People told me this was one that Tom phoned in, but they're absolutely wrong.
There's no time.
Where?
Oh.
Damn, poor guys.
Quest is the quest. Come on, persevere.
Quest is the quest.
What are they gonna do now? Oh my god. They're just
Damn.
embracing it. They're just like, there's no way out. We might as well do it.
Oh shit!
Crack like an egg too. They're gonna use that blast momentum to get through the portal, are they?
Yeah.
370 years, sir. That's nothing, is it?
Negative. Can he paint? Negative.
Aww.
Damn. Bit of a rushed ending, but
Oh, you
Oh,
know.
well.
You know, I don't think it was that rushed. Like,
well, it's
it was certainly funny.
yeah. Wow.
So like, I think it's really enjoyable actually, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. I'm glad we see eye to eye on this story. I was hoping this would happen.
Yeah, it's I mean, okay, I guess they maybe left a little bit on the table, but it's not like they left out any crucial parts. Like, it's just more like, I don't know, if this was like a 6-parter, they could have expanded some of that really interesting stuff.
Yeah, but I think 2 extra parts of shitty green screen would have just brought this story down.
I mean, I would have rather had this been a 6-parter than the Invasion of Time, not gonna lie, because I don't think that Sontaran bit's necessary, despite the fact that I like the memes in it. It's, yeah, I don't know, regardless, forget about Invasion Time, we'll just talk about this one. Yeah, Underworld, I actually thought it was quite an interesting story. I really liked the whole concept behind it, the way they went into that portal thing and found this softboard egg world with an oppressive society, the twist of who the seers were, and also I loved in the last episode Tom's performance, especially the way he, you know, exposed the megalomania of this machine that was created that thought it was a god. The way it ties into Time Lord lore is interesting. The way that the Doctor was like, he said that it's either we all get out or none of us do. We should not sacrifice anyone in this escape. You know?
Tom's like acting in this story is pretty solid. I quite like you know, every scene he's in. Like, he pulls off comedy. That when he's talking to Jackson about his people being on the ship, like that's a really good moment.
Absolutely, and I think just by this point, Tom Baker's playing the Doctor. He just knew how to do it like the back of his hand. So it was just instinct to him, really. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually quite liked the story. To be completely honest,
More backlash.
Yeah, more backlash. This is Space Pirates 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo. It just had a really cool blend of plot and comedy, you know, as a lot of Williams era stories do. It's not one of my favorites of the Williams era, I will say, but it was a really solid story, and I thought it was interesting, and it had good characters, good performances. I thought Leela was really good. K9 had a few good moments. I had a nice meme moments. It had quite satanic worshipping in it. I think this story exemplifies how season 15 was a bit of a transition period between Hinchcliffe and Williams, because you still have some of that gothic tone in there that was commissioned by the previous showrunner, but then also they're introducing some of the new ideas, and it's not really until season 16 that they fully embrace the Williams style. Having said that, I still really enjoyed it. It's not perfect, there's obviously issues with the production, but we'll get to that. But on the whole, good story. You have not disappointed me, Antonio, with your hype for this story.
Yes! I'm glad to hear.
I think the most surprising thing is that I was expecting it to just be all memes, but actually there was some substance to it. Like, it was actually quite good.
Yeah, like, when you look at it in a perspective that, instead of focusing on the effects, like, the performances and everything about it are really good. The story, it has the substance. If this was a book rather than like a televised story, I think it would have been like way better as a book rather than a story, because the effects just couldn't hold the budget.
I mean, if you did that, if you did Underworld now with today's budget, it would probably look really good.
Yeah, like I can definitely see this as a story Chibnall would do.
Yeah,
'Cause,
actually,
Time Lord
that is a good
backstory
point,
and stuff
actually.
like that.
Yeah, true. But actually, to be fair, you have a point. I feel like Underworld in Series 12 would have actually, like, fit. Like, the whole thing that they were going for. And also, like, I can imagine the 13th Doctor having a very similar sort of save everyone or no one mentality. So I actually sort of see what you mean. The only thing is that I don't think that Chris Chibnall would have been able to execute the comedy as well. Because I don't think the Chibnall era's comedy is that of that high caliber. It's pretty wooden and clunky. Whereas like Tom Baker and Louise Jameson are just so charming, and K9 as well.
The little bits with K9 going on adventures was pretty funny.
Yes, of course. The way he just blew up that wall.
Like that much destructive power. Like I didn't know K9 had that in him.
Yeah. But I really like the characters. So we learned about the Minyats and like how they had that 100,000 year quest, and I really liked finding out the backstory behind them and where they were going, and how when they found out what they actually went to find, like one of them went almost pretty much insane. Because I love that scene where he's tied down by the seers, and he says, 100,000 years, there's no stopping us now.
Like once you go past like a certain amount, like no matter what, you're still gonna go with it.
Yeah, it's like they've been doing this for so long. They've dedicated their lives to it. You know, they've dedicated their whole lives to this trek and this journey through space. That it's like, you're not gonna stop us. We are literally gonna go until we die. If it's
the way they just keep saying the quest is the quest, just to push them forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not forget. Yeah.
The little lingo. And also finding out about the oppressed society as well. And there was that character whose father was to be sacrificed as well. I really liked his point of view in the story. He provided another dimension to it. Just the whole thing about the machine megalomania and how it was controlling the seers.
The first part starts off really strong with really good model shots as well. And I quite like the idea of a society that is the core of a planet. Kind of like the Christmas invade. No, which one is it? The Bride, the one with Donna.
Oh yeah, the
It's
Rachnos.
kind of quite like
the
that.
Rachnos, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite. It's kind of like that, and I've always liked this concept.
You actually have a point actually about the Rachnos being a bit similar to this. The production on it is a mixed bag. Like you said, the model shots on it are great, but then also other parts of it look really cheap. Like you got the really cheap costumes, which, to be fair, don't bother me at all. I thought they were kind of cool. And then, despite the fact that they were just tinfoil and rope. And
quite sinister as well.
But then obviously the direction is kind of a disaster to some extent. Like, because the chroma key in part 1, some of it wasn't done, which is bad. And you've got just... It's really flat and rough, and it doesn't look right. But it's not, for me, it's not detrimental to the actual narrative. It's just detrimental to the viewing experience.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad. And I think if you were to make it on a... You know, if this story was made on a better budget, then I think people would like it more, because they would be able to look past the effects and just sort of... If it was made with a really good scenery, then they could, sink their teeth into the plot. Whereas for
if
me...
it was made into an actual cave, like...
Yeah, of course.
In an actual cave.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, some people don't like Revenge of the Cybermen either. In fact, a lot of people don't like Revenge of the Cybermen, so... I
guess cave stories are cursed.
Yeah,
so.
Maybe. Oh, well, the Caves of Androzani, though. That's popular.
Oh, yeah.
But, yes, the production has a lot of issues with it. And obviously, like Matt warned me before seeing this, there is that really bad bit where they accidentally lift up that child's thing and you can see their underwear. That's pretty bad. Yeah. Bad mistake that I hope they fix when they do the Blu-ray. I don't know how they'll fix it, but they have to find a way to do it.
I didn't even notice that. I was kind of just focused on the little person off to the left. I'd never noticed them before.
Yeah, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think this is a bad story in the slightest. I think it's interesting. There's quite a bit of action in it, so if you're not into action filler, then maybe it's not for you, but it just sort of carried between all the different plot beats. Some of the direction was a little bit stagnant, like they stayed a bit too long on some shots, like especially the bit where the Doctor was, trying to reverse the pressure of that gas filter. If they weren't filming it in front of a green screen, they may have been able to use more dynamic camera cuts.
Yeah, different shots, but how it just lingers there is just a bit
Yeah, so
too much.
I think just the production issues are the main issue really for this story. But apart from that, I thought the plot was interesting. It was really solid and not as bad as everyone says.
Exactly.
There was a sort of a video game like element to the plot where they went through a bunch of stages, and a lot of the time they were like breaking walls and all that. Like especially with like parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. The whole the oppressive side of the story, it's quite sinister how they keep the numbers down by letting caves fall on them.
Yeah, that was dark. That was really dark.
Yeah. I quite like that sinister side to it.
I think I can see why someone might think this story has a bit of tonal whiplash, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Because it does jump quite a bit from like really sinister, really dark, really satanic to haha, floating in an elevator flapping like a bird.
Just Tom Baker flapping. I found that funny.
And like I said, I think it's just a consequence of that transition period between Hinchcliffe and Williams.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Because this was the first story after Bob Holmes had stepped out as script editor. Obviously, he comes back to do 2 stories in season 16, but this is the first one where Anthony Reed is like fully in charge of the script editing. I mean, technically he was the script editor for the Sunmakers, but Bob Holmes wrote that story, so he had a bit of a helping hand. You could argue there's a bit of tonal whiplash, but it didn't bother me. I found it didn't jar either side of it, because the funny stuff was still funny, and the dark stuff was still dark. And I do love that minion design. Sorry, not the minion design, the seer design. I just keep thinking to say minion because of Despicable Me.
Yeah, but that's the one thing that interested me so much about the story when I was younger. It was the Seeker design on the cover. Like, I thought they looked so cool, and I still do. And it's such a shame that design wasn't there throughout the entire story.
I also think Tom's facial expression on the DVD cover is misleading because he's not bored in that story as much as it leads on.
It's very serious at some parts. His acting is superb.
Absolutely.
Like how he chalants around the place like he owns it, and
yeah,
it looks like he's having fun with the script. Yeah. I didn't feel like he was not doing his best.
I thought Louise Jameson did really well as well as Leela.
Yeah.
The best part is obviously in part 1 when she gets struck by the pacifier.
That was funny. Like, you got some very good comedic moments from Leela as well.
Yeah, of course.
She's really the comic relief in this.
I just love how the Doctor will often reference like bits of her Earth's history and mythology, and she has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And sometimes she will say things and she doesn't know that she's being funny. Some people would argue the seer voices are a bit flat, maybe.
Maybe.
But I didn't feel they were bad. Like, it wasn't like the Vardens in the next story where their voices are off-putting for me, mainly because they sound like New Zealanders probably. But the seers they did have like a flat tone to their voice, and they didn't have much inflection, but I didn't think it detracted. I think it just made them feel just sort of ominous, yeah. Like, they could have maybe spiced up a bit their voices, but made it a bit scarier to add to that horror factor if they wanted to.
I think they were trying to go for sinister, but it didn't really work out.
Yeah, like I said, like this story just needs a bit of seasoning. Just another draft and a bit of seasoning on it.
Yeah.
To really push it to that next level,
Indeed.
So in terms of the historical and reception, Paul Cornell, Martin Day, and Keith Topping wrote in the Discontinuity Guide. The direction is a bit lazy and the design could be better. The plot settles down to be dullish, but much more worthy than its reputation would suggest. The CSO is not that bad either. I kind of agree. I think it's a little bit better than that. I don't think it's as dull as people say. I just think it's visually flat. But the story, the plot isn't dull. The plot's interesting.
Yeah.
I just think that if they hadn't used the chroma key and they'd had a better set, like, the depth of field would be better, and you could really, get yourself into that atmosphere, because they do that in the Mutants, and I think it works really well in the Mutants.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Like, I quite like how it kind of shows why the Time Lords have their rules, because that's because of what happened to Minos. That's why they got their rules, and that's very interesting.
That was really interesting. The whole aspect of the Time Lords and Underworld, like this story and how that all tied into it. I thought that was something I didn't really know was in this story. To be honest, no one ever really talks about that.
Exactly. The Omega comic is expanding on it, and it's currently releasing at the moment. So.
Yeah, like I mean,
see
like,
what happened.
because I said this during the Death to the Daleks one that I did with Joey, is like some of these stories, like they create these worlds that are really interesting to explore as well. Like when you do them in the expanded universe, and I feel like this is one of them. I love when Doctor Who does world building in space. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, David J. Howe and Stephen James in the Television Companion, Stephen James Walker, I should say, noted that the bad reputation of the serial had, but felt it was better than that and a good example of the era. He praised the extra level the story takes by offering comparisons to Greek mythology as well as the model work in CSO. I agree. Patrick Mulcook of Radio Times panned the story as its vapid characterization and dodgy science and dearth of anything dramatically engaging. While he liked some scenes, he also found the visual effects good. He did not feel that it compensated for the unengaging story and lack of comedic direction. I don't think it's vapid. I think that's harsh to say that the characterization is vapid.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you could have done more, I guess, but it's not as bad as he says. I don't think it's not dramatically engaging. I think it is definitely in some points very dramatically engaging, especially when I was invested in that prisoner.
Oh yeah, Eirich. He's the best character of the episode. Best like supporting cast. I mean, it's clearly he's having so much fun with the role.
The other one I would say is the guy who looks like he could be Bernard Horsfall's dad. I was actually kind of hoping that we would see. You know what I was actually kind of thinking in my head? It was a ridiculous notion, but I was thinking, what if he went through the regenerator machine thing and he turned into Bernard Horsfall? That wouldn't work though, because the story is about Time Lords, and we already saw Goth like die in the Deadly Assassin.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this story was written by Bob Baker and Dave Martin, who I am finding are very underrated. I'm liking every story I've seen them in, which means that the only one I've got left is Armageddon Factor, which I'll be doing tomorrow with Mason. I'm just really gobsmacked at how they seem to get a really bad reputation, yet I'm really enjoying their stories.
Yeah, all of their stories are pretty good, except for the Armageddon Factor. That's the one I don't like.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, it was a.
Good luck with that.
We'll see. We'll see how I think of it. We'll see. I have a knack for liking stories that are unpopular, as do you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they did. I thought the script was actually quite solid. Like it was. The script is certainly not the bad thing about the story at all. It's actually, I thought they did a really good job, and I think it's quite commendable that they did 2 scripts for the season, because they did The Invisible Enemy as well. So that's a lot of work for them, and I thought they presented a really interesting concept around a really interesting bit of space, tied it into Time Lord lore and Greek mythology, and gave the actors some really good material to work with. So honestly, I think they did a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 100%, full-heartedly.
Mm-hmm. The direction was by Norman Stewart, who also did The Power of Kroll. I think their direction is really good in some places, and then in other places it's hampered by the budget. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it was like someone told me that during season 15's production, the UK had like a stock market crash, and that's why the first half of the season looks amazing and the second half doesn't. Because, like, you know, you start off with, like, Horror of Fang Rock and Image of the Fendals, you know, which both look incredible. But then you get stories like this and The Invasion of Time, which just look like piss. By comparison. That may have something to do with the why it looks cheap. But I still think the model shots look great, and some of the camera direction was good. I think there was a few stagnant wide shots that could have been executed more dynamically, but there was enough good direction for me to take from it, I would say. But it wasn't.
Yes.
I would say it's probably the weakest element of the story. Is probably the way it looks. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're right. It's
But it has its moments, and who knows? Maybe a Blu-ray, remix will improve it.
yeah. I while watching the story, I was like kind of thinking, I don't think updating the green screen would work for some scenes. So I think just going over the laser fire and like some of the beginning shots in space would look better. But
Yeah, the ones that
stuff
need to be
inside
keyed.
caves-
The ones that actually need to be keyed. Yeah, like just clean up
But
the
stuff in the
key.
the stuff inside the caves would be incredibly hard to do.
I think with the Ks they might just clean it up so there isn't like the continuity errors that are there. That makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But like keep the design similar because they probably don't have the budget on the Blu-rays to create a whole new, set. That would be ridiculous. I mean, they could. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they just came up with all that money. Like if BBC America was just like, here, have $1 million.
That's what they're usually like.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they do with this on season 15 Blu-ray. And if they just leave it alone, I feel like that would be a wasted opportunity to really showcase this story in a new light. The music was by Dudley Simpson, which I remember we complimented a few times. A lot of Dudley Simpson's score just sort of blends together for me, but I do like it. I think maybe during the Tom Baker era, they stopped using a few other composers, and I think it gets just a little bit repetitive. The thing is that it's kind of hard to argue against it, because Dudley Simpson is just so good at doing scores that it's hard to not have him do it. And also, I believe another reason for it is just budget. Like, it's cheaper to pay one person to do all of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, they have that in New Who. Like, Murray Gold and Segan Akinola, they basically do it all themselves.
I suppose it would have been way cheaper back then than it is today, so...
But something that I did quite like about, Hartnell, Trout, and Pertwee and the 80s was that a lot of the stories would have, like, a variance of composers, which, shook things up every now and then. Though, having said that, sometimes it came to mixed results, but on the whole, most of them were really interesting. So the Minyan spacecraft set turned out to be more expensive than anticipated, so almost all other scenes were created with CSO. Ah, I see. So that's why, because the spacecraft set was so expensive, everything else had to be CSO. That's why.
Damn.
Because they couldn't build sets for the rest of the story. The story makes frequent allusion to the story of Jason and the Argonauts and other Greek myths, including this.
Oh, I thought so. Yeah.
Including the similar name of the various characters: Jackson, Jason, Eirich, Hercules, Tala, Atalanta, Orphe, Orpheus, Minyans, Minoans, P7E, and Persephone, R1C, Argosi. Though the word Argosi is unconnected with the word Argo, which is Jason's ship.
That's so cool.
The story had the working title of Underground. I would imagine they would have maybe changed it to Underworld when they started to realize they were introducing, like, satanic bits in there, like with the seers. They thought that would be more fitting.
And the mythological feel to the story as well.
So apparently the reason why they have repeated shots and padding is because they were short of their running time. Like, the story wasn't enough to broadcast, so they had to repeat some stuff and, like, stretch it out a bit. That's probably why they had a few longer shots than usual.
I could definitely tell that they were stretching things just a bit with the sucking theme, sucking scene.
Maybe they should have done. Maybe they could have just done like a Meglos or Mind Robber and just had it be really tight.
Yeah.
Apparently, the recently released Star Wars influenced certain aspects of the production. Yes, that film Star Wars that came out recently. Especially when it was learned that the film would be released in the UK 10 days before Underworld was scheduled to air.
Wow.
Well, I mean, as much as I did enjoy this, I think watching Star Wars first and then watching this is a bit of a step down. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I just imagine George Lucas directing Underworld. He's like, "Oh, put Jar Jar in there." Misa Sia for the Satan. Apparently, originally in the script, Leela was meant to scream when overwhelmed by gas, but Louise Jameson declined to do this, pointing out that it was out of character. Good girl. You are standing up for your feminist character.
Yes, good.
It would definitely be out of character when you consider like how badass she was in the Sunmakers.
Oh, and she's quite badass in this as well.
Badass in general, to be fair. Oh, here we go. This is one that you're gonna like. Part 1 was broadcast only a few days after the Terry Nation created series Blake 7 debuted.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah, I love Blake 7. Oh.
Dudley Simpson worked on both shows, and according to the DVD, sneaked a reference to the Blake 7 theme music in the score in this episode.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, wow.
You'll have
Okay,
to,
yeah, I think so.
might have to like look up that and listen out for it.
I'm trying to think about it right now. Yeah, I think there are some moments in it. Yeah, I could definitely notice the.
The featurette reveals budget restrictions were so tight Underworld that cancelling altogether was allotted its budget to the Invasion of Time was suggested because ultimately it was rejected by Graham Williams. Graham Williams didn't want to cancel this story.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank
Yeah.
you, Graham Williams, for giving us this amazing story.
The scenes of the Dr. Shep herding the trogs through the caves, that should be sheep herding, I believe, on the P7E was devised and organised by Tom Baker himself.
That's cool.
Now I'm just thinking about when he does improvising on set, like when he was doing season 16 with Mary Tam, and he's just like, no, I think I should waggle my ducks. And they're like, no, don't waggle your ducks, Tom. All 3 polls from 1998, 2009, and... Oh, hang on, 3 polls, so maybe I think it's 3 out of the 4. But in 3 polls conducted from 1998, 2009, and 2014 in the Doctor Who magazine, Underworld has maintained the dubious honour of being the story of the 4th Doctor's era, held in the least regard. A poll in 2003, which is a different voting, had it as one of 6 4th Doctor stories that received no votes, making it joint last.
Wow. Holy shit.
Its lowest ranking overall came in the 2009 poll as one of the worst stories, ranked as among the 200 aired at the time at number 197.
God, we're just liking all of the bad stories. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the ones at the very bottom I haven't seen, but stuff like the Space Pirates and Underworld and Fear Her and Time Monster and all those I actually really like.
Yeah.
But wow. Yeah, I think this is ranked as the lowest 4th Doctor story, which is a shame, really, because I think it's better than a few 4th Doctor stories. I thought it was pretty damn interesting. Antonio, give your conclusion and a rating out of 10 for Underworld.
Conclusion, it's pretty underrated. Top tier acting from most of the cast, except a couple of naff actors here and there. But, yeah, I really like the concept and the mignons and mignas. Everything about the Time Lords being worshipped as gods. That's pretty cool. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Solid.
It's very generous, but I like it that much.
Nice. Yeah, Underworld is a really underrated story. It's got a really interesting plot with really interesting concepts about mythology, Time Lord lore, and the whole planet at the edge of the universe. I really like it when Doctor Who goes into deep space. Tom was great. Louise Jameson was great. The side cast was really good. A little bit of seasoning could have spiced it up and bumped it up another tier, and obviously a much more stable production would have helped as well. But aside from those, direction and a few tone issues, I think it's a really enjoyable story. And I'm probably... I'll give it a 7.5.
Oh, come on. Give it an 8. Give it an 8, buddy. Give it an 8.
No, because I think I would give Revenge of the Cybermen a 7.5, and I don't think I like it more than that one. So...
Okay.
I'd give it a solid 7.5. It's on Space Pirates tier, let's say that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Space Pirates tier, let's go.
Yeah, so controversial.
Again.
Controversial
Wonderful.
once again, and I have now seen all of season 15.
Yes.
And it's a really solid season outside of the last story for me.
That's good to hear.
Shock and awe. I like Underworld. Surprise, surprise.
Who would have guessed?
Honestly, I was expecting to liking it. I just had a feeling, I just had a feeling.
Yeah, okay.
Just with my reputation.
Oh yeah, with every other story.
Indeed, indeed. That means, now that we've given our scores, we have to defend a story against Hellbent.
Oh yeah, baby.
And this time, it's going to be the absolutely hilarious and wonderful Fear Her from from Series 2 of New Who, from the wonderful Russell T Davies era of the show that I so dearly love. Now, to be fair, Fear Her is probably one of my least favourites from that era, but I still think it's quite fun. But I think you should start with this. Why do you like Fear Her more than Hellbent?
Well, you know, Fear Her, it's fun. It's got funny child actors, which I find incredibly hilarious. Hellbent, it's all serious. Doctors on Gallifrey. But not for long. It doesn't focus on Gallifrey. It focuses completely on Clara. But you know what Fear Her has? No focus on Gallifrey. No convoluted plots. No, Time Lords or anything. It's just shenanigans. You know, the Doctor eating marmalade, scribble monsters, Chloe Webber.
The Council Man?
The Council Man? Yeah, of course. And it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I could just laugh. I could cool down while watching this episode and laugh and have a good time with my mates and make fun of the episode. But with Hellbent, you can't really do that. You just sit there and go, why was this made? Oh my god, this is so shit.
Well, I think the biggest difference between Hellbent and Fear Her, one of the things that I just love so much more about Fear Her than Hellbent, is actually how it handles the comedy. Because the comedy in Fear Her is really tongue-in-cheek and improvised, and the actors just look like they're just having a fun time, just fooling around. And
Exactly.
I just find the Doctor's sort of just weird sort of zadiness in that story quite endearing. Like the sort of it's one of Tennant's sort of more alien performances, I'd say, where he's just in a really relaxed setting and he's just letting loose, and he's sort of like, back in my bandy hairy hand. And he gets asked a question, he's like, no, but I can do this, and he does that Spock thing with his hand. And then you get the iconic fingers on lips scene.
Fingers on lips.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant scene.
And then, like, there's that whole bit with the dad who's just wondering why his child has disappeared. He's like, what the hell are you doing on my lawn? And he's just like, sticks and stones, snakes and ladders.
It's so funny.
Now, to be fair, the Fear Her does have a bit of a cringy ending with the whole dad thing and the power of love saving the day. But I think it's so tongue-in-cheek that it's not as bad as some others. Like, I find a lot of the... there's a lot of, like, Matt Smith stories that do the same thing, but it does it in this sort of very saccharine, sort of Disney-ish way. Whereas in the Fear Her, it's just kind of... It's so silly that it doesn't take itself too seriously, and therefore I can kind of forgive it a bit more. I love that whole thing around the Olympics as well, and how, like, it happens during the 2012 Olympics, and you have the Doctor, like, carrying the torch at the end, and he's just so full of glee.
So fun. Yeah.
And I love that moment where all the people disappear, and the commentator's like, not you too, Bob. And the concept as well. I really like the concept of, like, being able to draw someone and they disappear into the drawing. I think it's pretty cool. Now,
I think it's a very so bad it's funny type of concept.
Oh no, I think it's
Fear Her.
I think in a child's imagination, I think it's quite neat, because I remember when I watched it as a kid, I thought that was kind of like scary. The fact that it was like, what if someone drew me and I was taken into a drawing?
It's not one of those concepts I'd find. I think if it was handled by somebody else and not Chloe Webber, I'd find it cool, but Chloe Webber just makes it so funny. I am Chloe Webber! I will draw you into a picture!
Yeah, whereas
it's so funny.
By comparison, I find a lot of the comedy in Hellbent to be tone deaf. It's really like, just like, oh, come on, Moffat. Like, you know, when he's about to murder someone in cold blood and he says, don't take a selfie. Regeneration is like man flu.
Yeah.
And, like, outside of the moment, it's funny, but when you watch the episode and you're really invested in the drama, it's like, oh, come on now, what are you doing? And I just think that Fear Her is quite harmless. I think it's a very harmless episode. Flawed, obviously, it has issues. And the bit where the dad comes out of the, like, wardrobe and He's like, I'm coming to kill you. I'm coming to get you. And then they sing a song. That's really bad. But you know, it's an episode I can kick back and enjoy, and I think people just need to stop taking it like Doctor Who so seriously in episodes like that. Like, there's just really funny gags, and I think if you just sort of treat it like a light, fluffy story, it's much more enjoyable than if you don't. Like, there's that brilliant TARDIS gag at the beginning where he materializes the wrong way around and he opens onto a public toilet or something, or like a wall. I can't remember what it was.
It was a cargo box, I think.
I do think the leads shine. I think especially Billie Piper, when she's given the role to take over when the Doctor gets taken into the drawing, I think she really carries the story. I think her, you know, as an actress, she really puts it in. I mean, not to say that they don't do it in Hellbent, because they do. You know, the actors are really trying in Hellbent as well. But I don't know. I just really enjoy Fear Her. Like, it's not good, but I think it's fun. Whereas Hellbent is just kills my enjoyment of Doctor Who, really. And that's the biggest difference to me. Because I think it's comedy. That's the biggest difference, is comedy. It's light and fluffy and cheap. It has a scribble monster in it. And I love that bit where they go back to the TARDIS. And it was a very, like, almost Tom Baker-ish moment when the Doctor goes back in the TARDIS and rubs out graphite with a pencil. He's like, it's graphite! It's graphite, Rose.
It's rare you get to see the Doctor go back to the TARDIS to analyze something. Doesn't happen that often in the new show.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Fear Her, like, the way the Doctor is characterized and the things he does, it is quite a bit like Tom Baker, especially Williams-era Tom Baker, when you think about it. Yeah,
I think I read it somewhere that the Doctor was characterized as if Tom Baker was playing the role when the writer was writing the script.
It definitely feels like that, and because David Tennant's such a fan of Tom Baker, he was really able to channel that, but also sort of add a bit of his own flavor to it. And also, like, because as much as I love the character drama with Tennant's run, if you're looking for a 10th Doctor story that's just really chill, and there's no angst to it, I think it's actually a really good one to do, because for the most part, the Doctor is actually quite laid back in it. I think that's kind of the point as well, is because at that point in Series 2, he becomes so comfortable with Rose that he kind of forgotten about the Time War. Obviously, in the next story, when the Daleks come back, that all changes. But yeah, I think it's just a really nice kickback 10th Doctor story, which you don't get too often. There is also one really good scene where he talks to Clover's mum that I really like. It's really good acting in that scene where he's questioning her about, you know, what if. I definitely prefer Fear Her over Hellbent. Like, maybe on a production level it's not as well crafted because the direction's really cheap, whereas like Rachel Talalay's direction in Hellbent is very like artistic. Given the evidence of what we watched in this story and how much we liked Underworld, I don't think that... I feel like direction can complement a story, but when it's cheap, it's not like it's the end of the world, unless it's Warriors of the Deep for me. Tell us how wrong we are in the comments, please.
Yes, please.
Not just about Fear Her, but about Underworld as well. Antonio, thank you so much for coming on another Worst of Classic Who reaction, where we, especially me and you, have been going through the most unpopular ones. We started with the Space Pirates. Act 2 was Underworld, and we will conclude this arc of
with the worst 6th Doctor story, right?
Time Lash.
Yeah. We're just hitting all of the worst Doctor stories, aren't we?
Well, worse in terms of what fans think of them.
Well, yeah, exactly. But like, Space Pirates is considered the worst of the 2nd Doctor era,
and Underworld for 4th.
Underworld is and Time Lash for the 6th. So
I think some people would say Twin Dilemma over Time Lash.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot Twin Dilemma was a thing.
Yeah, because it's in season 21, that's why. But yeah, no, we'll have you on for Time Lash, which I believe you're also a big fan of.
I love Time Lash so much.
I have a funny feeling it's got something to do with the fact that Paul Darrow is in it.
No, I did not know who Paul Darrow was when I first watched
it.
But he does give a really good performance. I love his campy performance in it.
So does that mean that now that you've watched Blake 7, that means that when you go back and watch Time Lash again with me, it's going to be even better because you have context of Paul Darrow.
Exactly
okay.
That.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I haven't seen a lot of Paul Darrow, but I know he's a very celebrated actor, and from the clips I've seen, I think I really like him. And obviously Colin Baker is such a charming actor. Like, he just lights up every story he's in. He's so camp and wonderfully theatrical. And I really like the Sixth Doctor. Like, I think he's such a bastard, and that makes him so much fun.
Go subscribe to my channel, Crinoid Roots. I've got some stuff planned up. So new videos will be coming out soon. My latest video was a collab with Connor, who was in it, where we rank Doctor Who monsters on how good they would be in a relationship. And it was a very fun video to edit and do. So go check that out. My Twitter, Crinoid Roots as well. You should follow that. And that's really about it. Security Kitchen Productions. Go check them out and their most recent
oh yes, we were in the pit.
audio.
We were in the pit part 1.
Yes. As a comedic duo, Connor and I, so...
Yes. Only for a little bit of screen time, but it was
yeah,
there.
But we're still perfect together, Connor. Yeah, but go check that out.
I kind of wish we had a bit more, actually. If I was to make a request.
Exactly. God,
they should have made the pit a 3-parter and had more of us in it. Just add new material that wasn't in the book.
Exactly. Or put back material that was in the book that was eventually cut out.
Yeah.
That just only featured us. A whole part dedicated to us, Connor. Yeah, but that's it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, that was a lot of fun. So that means that next time I'm going to be doing the Armageddon Factor with Mason, and we are going to be concluding off the Key to Time saga, which I personally am a big fan of. I love season 16 so far. Really interested to see where it goes. I'm also really like the Black Guardian from the Davison stories. I'm interested to see that, and also to see Mary Tam and Lala Ward together on screen. Hopefully it's fun. It's another 6-parter, so I'll have some juicy, meaty filler to enjoy, like I always do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for coming on, Antonio. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.